let's go straight over to our commentator for the day, Madeline Grant from the Telegraph. Hello, Madeline.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm very, very well. I'm glad I've still got you because I really want to talk to you about the NatWest boss, Alison Rose. Like me, you must have been stunned last night when she finally admits it was her that fed the duff information to the BBC business editor, Simon Jack. She said Nigel Farage, his accounts at Coutts were only closed for purely financial reasons. He subsequently proved that they were not. He was cancelled by Coutts because of his political views. They said they did not align with Coutts' values. Love the fact Coutts, the most exclusive bank in the world, trying to be inclusive. How ridiculous was that? But she resigned, or rather, she admitted to being the source of this wrong information. Frankly, she stands accused of lying to Simon Jack to try to protect the reputation of the bank. Last night, when she finally admitted it was her, the board said, yes, this is a grave, serious error of judgment, but she retains our full confidence. Absolutely startling. Now, I wasn't the only one to say, well, is it just me, or are the NatWest directors and Alison Rose the last people in Britain to not realise she has to go? Later on, late night meeting, they finally see sense and get rid of her. So in this Omnishambles, from start to finish, they finish on this extraordinary note, giving this woman full confidence, even though she broke the sacred code of banks by discussing confidential details of a customer with a BBC hack, and then they realised that she actually would have to go, so she resigned this morning. Can this bank do anything right?
Well, it's been a terrible, torrid few weeks for the bank, and you know, I think that it's doubly damaging, not just because of all the negative publicity and the poor treatment of Nigel Farage, but I think even people who are not fans of Farage, if they're honest with themselves, would look at the way that the bank was so willing to sell out confidential information about its own customers. You know, whatever your views on Mr Farage, that is not the kind of service that anyone would want from their bank. So it's been a kind of terrible sort of comedy of errors in many, many different ways. And it's interesting also that you said that NatWest were the last people still defending Alison Rose. I'm not sure if that's true, actually, because this morning on the media round, the Shadow International Trade Secretary, Nick Thomas Simmons, was actually saying that essentially this was, you know, not an issue that the government should be intervening on in any way. Essentially,
really?
that this is yeah, he was saying it was like a sort of HR matter for NatWest, and it didn't have any broader implications about, you know, free expression, about people being barred for political reasons, and the confidentiality of clients of banks, etc., which was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, as I say, what I see this as, I mean, don't forget Dame Alison Rose, you know, they call her Dame Woke. She took the Coutts and NatWest down a very woke route. You know, Coutts bragging about standing for the LGBT community. Apparently, if you go to their headquarters, it's like stepping into a rainbow. I don't know why a bank would think this was the way to go about its business, but it did. And in the end, I think what we've witnessed here is a bank that valued woeful wokery over good governance. They have not been running this bank at all well. The last 3 weeks since it was revealed that Nigel Farage has been cancelled by them, it's been an utter shambles. And yet they retreat and say, oh, well, we're woke and we support the LGBT community. Well, how about you run the bank properly? Because you're not running it properly now. To wit, do you think Nigel Farage is right when he calls for more resignations? He wants the entire board to go. I mean, you know what Nigel's like when he's on a run, but I do think there's something in what he says. If this bank is to retain any credibility, everybody responsible for offering Dame Alison Rose their full confidence has to go.
Well, the thing is, I'm not exactly sure. I think you need to know more about, you know, exactly what information they had at what time and what they were privy to. and what they did and didn't know at each time, because it sounds as if, you know, Alison Rose might well have misled other people about what she knew.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, Simon Jack. And you know, I think obviously, I'm sure there will be a big inquiry into how this happened. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of a lawsuit, because this is, you know, the ultimate breach of client confidentiality, and it's clearly in breach of, you know, GDPR and existing regulations. So I obviously this is not the last that we're going to hear of this.
I think the ultimate irony, Madeline, if you look back on it, was it 3 weeks ago, I think Nigel Farage first revealed his plight to the nation, that they were cancelling his account. So they go, oh yeah, well, you know, we found out down the road that they felt that connection with Nigel Farage would inflict upon them reputational damage. Now, 3 weeks ago, none of us had the faintest idea that Nigel Farage had accounts at Coutts banks. Now we know only too well, and the reputation of Coutts and NatWest is in the toilet there, but their reputation could not be more damaged. I mean, this is bungling by Alison Rose and NatWest and Coutts on an epic scale, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, you know, it's like Bud Light, but times a million, I think. Because there'll be a loss of custom, but there will also be investigations into what happened. And now that the issue has been is very much on people's radars now, I think that we will find that there have been many, many similar cases, including people that were not famous, that may have said or done the wrong thing according to their bank and been barred. And there are already a few cases that we know about. So I think this is just the beginning, the tip of a very large iceberg.
My parting shot to you, Madeline, is while we speak, NatWest's share price continues to plummet. So trebles all round at NatWest and Coutts. Unbelievable saga.